I was a single woman in multiple because marketing at that time, not too many women were there. Out of those 35 branch heads of Birla, I was the only one lady there. Years ago, if we were told that you could earn a livelihood by talking, we would say, what bullshit, right?
Correct.
Because talking was considered to be, my mom would still laugh when I say, did you ever know your daughter is so talkative and she could earn a living out of her talking? So that's been my story. The first 3 years being really, really, really tough because what I would be earning 3 years before, the next 3 years, I wasn't even making anything close to even a month's salary. So some of the things just blended in what you had done in your childhood organically, not knowing where you're leading yourself to, but organically. I became a part of Professional Speakers Association of India. I have always believed in one thing, that the comfort zone is the most beautiful place in this world. But if you want to see any kind of miracle, you need to be outside the comfort zone in the effort zone. I had so many questions, self doubts, money going from my hand, my husband looking at me. Is this what you really wanted to do? I've got 6 different TED Talks invites because of the way I network and I kind of post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has given me the access to people reaching me out for my TED Talks. But I always believe every pain in your life launches you for greatness. Because without pain, I don't know any single person who has not had pain and who has become great. The more the level of pain, the more you get better.
क्या आपको भी स्टेज का डर है? Does the thought of public speaking make your knees weak and voice tremble? But imagine the power of inspiring thousands with your words. Just like many of us, public speaking might seem scary at first, but with the right kind of guidance, it can become your superpower. That's exactly what our guest for today, Siji Varghese, embodies, a true rock star. Three-time TEDx speaker, Siji has captivated audiences on the TEDx stage not once, not twice, but thrice. But wait, there's more to it. कर्मवीर चक्र अवार्ड यूनाइटेड नेशंस और नेशनल एंड इंटरनेशनल WEE राइजिंग वुमेन अवार्ड से भी सम्मानित है ये पावर हाउस फैसिलिटेटर। लीडरशिप ट्रेनिंग से लेकर लीडरशिप इन लिपस्टिक जैसे बढ़िया प्रोग्राम्स तक सीजी लोगों में छुपे हुए पोटेंशियल को जगाती है। 800 से ज्यादा वर्कशॉप्स, 45,000 पार्टिसिपेंट्स ग्लोबली, ये है सीजी का इम्पैक्ट एंड पावर। पब्लिक स्पीकिंग में करियर बनाना चाहते हो, सीजी से सीखो। गेट रेडी फॉर अ डोज ऑफ इंस्पिरेशन एंड जबरदस्त एनर्जी। Hello, Siji. Welcome to the Career Storyteller. It's a great pleasure and honor having you on our show. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ramya. Thank you so much for the invite and thank you for having me over here. Really, really, really glad to be here.
Likewise, today we want to have a conversation with you on your journey, your career path, and your profession. And we would want to learn from you, as in how did you become what you are today, and inspire youngsters to take up your profession. And to begin with, maybe we would want to understand what initially sparked your passion for public speaking, leadership, life coaching, facilitator, and so on. So, could you walk us through your own career journey into all these fields? Or maybe if you want to choose any one, because you have been wearing so many hats, so it's like if you want, you can walk us through your entire journey, or maybe you can pick any one role and you may talk about that as well.
Okay, I'm going to answer all of your questions one at a time. Probably when I was born and I was a toddler to a child, I was born like a very talkative child, you know. So somewhere if somebody had to see me then, no, they would have realized that this girl is meant to do something with talking. Probably we did not have. So when I'm talking about 50 years from now, there was no profession called as keynote speaking, training, or anything of that. So the two things that I was always attuned to in my house was either to become a doctor or to become an engineer. These were the just two
Typical.
professions. Either you take a science or you take a commerce. If you have taken a science, you're a doctor and engineer because you're a good student. So it was like bana hua ki you are going to do science, and that's how you end up with science. And then either medicine, or because I was so pathetic in mathematics, I knew engineering was never my cup of tea. So tea, and so I thought probably I could make my parents feel proud with me getting into medicine. Did not fare too good in that because I guess I was not made for it. And little later did I realize that I can't see blood at all. So good, it was a timely intervention saying that I'm not made for that space. I ended up doing microbiology and biotechnology. Okay. And once I finished my graduation, I got into Sophia's for food technology. And from there to move on in campus placement to Cadbury, this was what was plan. In the interim, somebody pops up and says that do your MBA to my parents. Like, if your daughter does an MBA,
Correct.
the chances of her to get a good job alongside with a good groom are brighter. So for getting a good boy, for getting a good job, all those were you can imagine how naive, how gullible you were at that point in time. So whatever the mom and dad says, and like that, how I went into MBA. And then in the second year, you had specialization because at that time in 1995, HR hadn't taken up as much. It was IR. And IR meant typically you will find men who are dealing with unions, the
Correct.
labor laws and unions. So that was out of question. Marketing, my mom was like, you doing marketing, which means you have to do door-to-door selling. That was another scary thing. Ultimately, a microbio and a biotech student ends up doing taxation and accountancy, not to understand even a bit of what it meant in my life. I know the teacher came inside the room, she would go out, and I will still wonder what just happened. So that was my case because the last year of doing uh, finance in MBA was something which really I couldn't connect with. It did not resonate. It did not. But somehow when I came back to the job space, I got into as executive assistant to the CFO. Okay, the chief financial officer directly in Ajanta Pharma. And that was quite a game changer because that was being my first job and I'm directly reporting to the CFO. I got to be with all the departments, head HODs of all the departments. I got to learn how to make project reports. We used to have our spaces in USSR. So we used to have this feasibility, viability reports, and we had to have working capital, budgeting, MIS, analysis, and a lot of things to do with Exim and IDBI Bank because they were our sponsors, or they used to give us those working capital loans, short term, long terms for our projects. So I learned a lot. And then immediately we went into an IPO too, and I was with the SEBI, with the venture capitalists, with the merchant bankers. So a wide exposure was really good. In the interim, I got married. So there was this issue there again. My mom wasn't finding a right groom, and then she ultimately said, simply at all, we made her do her MBA because now to find an equally competent or an educated guy was getting tough in the years of 97, 98 precisely. So there was like this double dilemma. First it was like you get a good guy, and after the daughter has been educated to that, it was difficult to find a groom for her who was equally there. So I got married. We moved to US because my husband was in the IT space. We were in the US for some time, and when I came back, I joined back again with my Ajanta Pharma. Then I got a baby, my first child, and then I took a sabbatical. So from there, the next thing that happened to me was to start looking out for a job again, and that's how ICICI Bank happened. And since I had a 2.5 year of sabbatical, I had to start all over from scratch. Okay. And then because I had an MBA and I had some years of experience, after joining from zero, I moved very faster. Then you started as a branch head for ICICI Bank. Then I was a branch head for Birla Sun Life Insurance. Then I moved on to handling 3 branches of Max New York Life too. So that was all in Mumbai. So this happened till 2010. In the interim, I had one more boy, right? So I had 2 boys in 2010. I used to be putting anywhere between 14 to 16 hours of work,
Wow.
which meant I ideally had very little time with my boys. Okay. So somewhere it started pinching me big time. And I had to take a call whether to let go of my motherhood because I was progressing very fast in my career because of the space that I was, because I was a single woman in multiple, because marketing at that time, not too many women were there. Out of those 35 branch heads of Birla, I was the only one lady there. So you can understand that was the kind of space at that point in time. So somewhere I was feeling that probably this is not where I want to be. I want to enjoy motherhood too. And by the time my boys were 4 and 7, 7 and 4, whatever. So I happened to take a call, and in the call, I decided that I should do something which will make me be with my boys too. And at the same time, I wasn't sure what, right? So if years ago, if we were told that you could earn a livelihood by talking, we would say, what bullshit, right?
Correct.
Because talking was considered to be, my mom would still laugh when I say, did you ever know your daughter is so talkative and she could earn a living out of her talking? It's the answers
Wow.
you'll never imagine that, right? And in the decision making, because I did not know what next, I knew I didn't have to do a capital intensive business, because if I had to fail, I would have to listen to my husband for the rest of my life that you failed so miserably. So I kind of partnered with two other partners who were into insurance training. And I thought this is where I want to make my, and we came out with something which we called as a new age entrepreneur. We did that for 3 years, spending a lot of money from our side, and we did not have any breakthroughs. So we had to go back to the drawing board quite often with absolutely no breakthroughs. 3 years, I felt I made the biggest mistake of my life leaving my corporate career. My husband started giving me all those feelers. Look, lifestyle is important and no money is coming from my side for the last 3 years. So I was almost on the verge of getting back to my corporate journey back again. With a very heavy heart, because by now I had started enjoying the space with being my boys and to do what I'm loving to do as well. And suddenly one client happened, and then there was no looking back. So in 2024, I could say I have completed 1,000 workshops with around 85,000 participants. So that's been my story. The first 3 years being really, really, really tough, because what I would be earning 3 years before, in the next 3 years, I wasn't even making anything close to even a month's salary. Okay. So that was my, you could say, the worst, tough, difficult, trying period. And boys were growing up. I was enjoying time, but I also knew that I have a responsibility to pitch in for the household. Right. So once that client happened, when there was no looking back, moved on. Then you came to know, okay, what next? How do I get into public speaking? Because I thought this is the only talent I have, speak, and I would find that people would love to listen to me somehow. There's something about everyone, that the way you conduct yourself or the way you
Correct.
say your story, it just captivates them and they would just listen to me. And I realized all this, even during my childhood, I would make up such stories. And every child in the building would listen to me. Ha, fir kya? What happened next? What happened next? So somewhere I realized, I learned Bharatnatyam for 2 years when I was a baby. So all those expressions would come onto my face when I would be speaking. So today also in a training session, they would all say, ma'am, we loved the expressions on your face. And I'm like, oh, is it? So some of the things just blended in what you had done in your childhood organically, not knowing where you're leading yourself to, but organically. And ICF coaching, I thought, what next after speaking, coaching? So that was all one after the other, gradual. NLP, Gestalt, using the tools of NLP and Gestalt in your training, more connection with people, understanding that behavioral transformation is more important than from a superficial kind of a GAN to people, because GAN is easily available, knowledge is easily available. But how do you apply that? How do you work on that? Building in curating workshops, because you want the people to work in the workshops. And then eventually keynote speaking. I became a part of Professional Speakers Association of India. COVID actually helped me graduate into that. And then Leaders in Lipstick was born. So, there was everything which was a gradual, organic space, one after the other, one after the other, building upon the experiences of life, building up on what people kept telling you every now and then, reiterating that you're good at this. So they said you're good with what you're doing. So I realized, okay, this is my strength, which I never knew, because while you were managing a branch, you used to be a stand-up trainer. training all your agents and advisor, training all your sales guys, because that was a need of the arts, because you are the head, you need to product features, how to sell. All of those were like stand up, just did it. And then you're doing it in a structured format. So I think it wasn't decided, it just flew. And now when I look back, I just felt sometimes what's your core, na? Your divine just leads you there. So there's something like your internal navigation system, which just leads you to what you are supposed to be aligned to. So what I would tell to the kids of today, see what is your best point and see how you can align your core with what you really love to do and make money out of it. So today talking is my core and I make a lot of money with talking. And do I get bored with it? No, because talking is my core. I never get bored. So I actually retired 14 years back. I'm just following my passion right now.
Oh,
Wow, amazing. And I connected at so many levels because I had so many common points with you. I mean, I shared so many common points, be it talking, and I'm literally told, please shut up. I mean, you can ask Vivek. He is like many a times he is like he just doesn't listen and things just pass through his ears because I'm talking so much entire day that he's like, please, I just want to concentrate on my work now, please just shut up. So that's how talkative I am. I connect with you on so many levels, be it maybe forcing to do MBA just because maybe you want to also get I did like BSc IT. So even my mom was that why are you so complacent with just BSc IT? Do MBA. You have time in your hand. Do MBA in whatever. Do something else. And the reason why we started this podcast is again storytelling. I love doing that. The way you said, I feel like I don't know if I start talking, people love to listen to me or people will listen to me, and that's why you see the name like career storyteller. So I think we brought a right guest on a right platform who also loves to talk just like me. And this is, I mean, I literally did not feel that someone else also has got passion of talking just like me. And that's the reason why we are doing this podcast as well. I mean, Vivek for killing his imposter syndrome and for me to just let my energy out. That's why we are doing this passionate thing.
Nice.
So even and before I go on and on, I'll let Vivek do the talking. Over to you, Vivek.
yeah. Thanks, Ramya, and thanks, Siji. Uh, I mean, well, just the way you articulated or the way you put up entire things right from your childhood till the time that you are currently now placed. I mean, uh, what I could sense or what I could take is like whoever is going through a journey, it's always a path where we are not sure about what this time will lead us to in future, right? And
True.
I just wanted to understand from maybe looking at me, doing your MBA after your graduation was maybe the ideal step that you wanted to take up, and maybe that was the right decision for you at that point of time. And then maybe exploring the other options, exploring the other paths throughout your journey, whichever made sense at that point of time, is what I just wanted to understand check with you is as an human being or as an individual, we are never sure about where this path will lead us to. But then how do you make that decision, and what is the approach? And maybe just with an example where you said that someday you made up your mind that I want to stop doing what I'm doing at present. Maybe at that point of time you might have been getting a good a paycheck, but then putting a pause to it and then venturing into something which is unexplored, which is you're not sure about. How do you make up that decision? What are the things that you put up as a decision making? Would you like to share that as well? Maybe that might help our listeners as well.
That's a very valid question. And I have always believed in one thing, that the comfort zone is the most beautiful place in this world. But if you want to see any kind of miracle, you need to be outside the comfort zone in the effort zone. And so I'll tell you how this happened. I was really finding it a little taxing to be managing both my home and a full-fledged career. And incidentally, in the year 2010, my husband had a deputation in South Africa and he said, for the holidays, come over. I took a 2-month holiday. Along with my boys, I traveled there. Now, that opened up an entire different perspective for me. I enjoyed the time with my boys. One. Two, I was given the book The Secret by Rhonda Bryan by one of my friend. And I had all the time in the world to read through it and practice some of it. I don't know what stirred or triggered in me at that point in time. I said, chuck it. I don't want a job. I can make it on my own, right? Let me see how can I explore and see what magic unfolds me. And I'm sure there's something out for me as well. So if God, if I feel, if there's an intuitive space in you that you have to leave it because this is in your best interest, at that point in time, priorities were of paramount importance. The boys were of paramount importance. Money was also important. I was getting good money because I was in sales and marketing along with a lot of good incentives. Okay. So, and promotions coming very fast because if you do a good job, promotions are like very quick.
Correct.
And being a lady there, it really helped as well because I would get a set of sales managers who would be all men listening to a female boss, but they also wanted to prove a point that, ma'am, we are the best. So they would do their 100% while I would do my 150%. So it was a good amalgamation of everything in place. And now suddenly stirring up was like a big challenge. Stirring up because you will not have the salary coming at the end of every month. People know you as somebody you were heading multiple branches in Max New York Life to somebody who was Siji Varghese, who is a wannabe trainer, who knows what she has in her, what kind of credibility she comes with, what expertise and experience she has. Would anyone want to even give me a chance to be as a trainer? Because I was never in the L&D or the training space. I never belonged to that space at all. And it was like a total different career for me. Okay. Somebody showed me that leap of faith in me or that faith into me and gave me entrusted few workshops. And that changed the entire space. So I had my first time when I wasn't sure. I did like 80 hours of practice in front of the mirror to get it right for a 1.5 hour session. And the moment I told everybody at the end of the session that today was my first session, I hope you all liked it. They all just woke up, gave me a round of applause, and said they loved it. And then that gave me that. So I feel today also I support a lot of people when they're starting up because I know how it feels when you're starting up, when you have that imposter syndrome with you. Are you good enough? This place is so filled with people who are experts and experienced people. I am a newbie here. Would I even stand a chance? I had so many questions, self doubts, money going from my hand, my husband looking at me. Is this what you really wanted to do? All those kinds of things. And my mother would come home and she would say, I made you learn MBA and you're washing vessels and changing diapers. I mean, like, is this what I made you an MBA for? Those kinds of questions. So you have your own moments where you're doubting. So, one, I feel staying passionate about what you want to do, staying determined and not give up as soon as you get a failure, you should not give up. At least fail 3, 4 times. And then if you want
Correct.
to give up, it's fine, but at least fail 3, 4 times. And I've always seen that just when you're about to give up, something happens in your life and it again makes you get into a dilemma,
Absolutely.
which kind decides you, okay, no, I don't have to leave this, I have to continue with this. So there have been multiple moments. And I just feel, what if I have to give you a suggestion is that one, get out of your comfort zone, be in an effort zone where you're giving your 100%, your best version, have that passion, know what your strengths are, and leverage on your strengths. Because each one of us have different strengths, different areas of liking, and different way of doing things. And that's what makes you stand apart, right? There are so many trainers around. With what I did, I did not know I would be amongst my training fraternity, one of the first TEDx speakers. In 2017, I got my very first TED opportunity. And then multiple things followed with that. So you don't know where an opportunity lies, and you have to be at the right place at the right time. And for that, you have to be outside your comfort zone. and do things which makes you feel uncomfortable. That's
Wow.
my
And
suggestion.
all, wow, amazing. And also to just let you know, this is more also a English channel. So feel free to speak in Hindi wherever you feel like, because I also sense that you also lived in Mumbai, though you are a South Indian, you lived in Mumbai, just like us. So I know that you would be comfortable in Hindi also. So I have a curious question. अगर किसी को लाइफ कोचिंग या लाइफ कोच बनना है, तो अगर आपको एक्सप्लेन करना हो व्हाट इज लाइफ कोचिंग ऑल अबाउट एंड हाउ डज वन बिकम अ लाइफ कोच, तो आप क्या बताएंगे?
Okay, for me, there are two ways that I look up to it now. Today, I see many corporates asking for certifications. Prior to this, it was not as necessary. Like an ACC, PCC, MCC has become like quite a mandate. Before, it was people who had experience and expertise in that space, they would become a coach or a mentor, right? That was the typical space. So, if you were to ask me the question, what are some of the things that people look in life coaching? I feel if you're somebody who is an empath, when I say empath or an empathy, somebody who's ready to expand your boundaries to include others' perspectives, you can become a good life coach. Because the moment you're ready to not judge others by their actions and include their perspectives too, because your journey and my journey has been very different. So our experiences and our perspectives are very different. So one question is, do I have an evolving growth mindset or do I have a fixed mindset? No, no, this happens like this only. I need to do like this only. I'll give you a small example. When my son, he was turning 18 and he had access to WhatsApp at that time, he would put a status in the WhatsApp saying LYF is OSM. Okay, LYF is OSM. Okay. Now, what does LYF stand for? उसको क्या बोलते हैं?
लाइफ इज ऑसम.
Brilliant. Okay. Now I come from a convent educated school where if you even make a grammatical mistake, the sisters would take a pen, put it right in front of your knuckles and give you a nice twist.
एब्सोल्युटली. यस.
And there, मेरा खुद का बच्चा, he is telling me life का spelling is LYF, awesome का spelling is OSM. Now if I were to tell him, बच्चा, हमारे जमाने में life used to be spelled and awesome used to be spelled, he would simply tell, Mama, take a chill pill. If I had to take the pill, he wouldn't have been here, but that's a story for some other time. Now, important is I had to become a chill mother, right? So now I go back to the internet and I find a word LMAO. And that says, LMAO, right? And I send it back to him. And that's the exact point in time when my 18-year-old decides that I can give access to my mother, to my world, because she seems to be like a chill mother. Okay. Now,
वाओ.
this is the first time when I took the extra effort to meet him at his map of the world. His map of the world and my map of the world is very different. My parents grew me up for a world which no longer exists. I come from a generation of relationship, whereas my son belongs to a generation of situationship. Yeah.
एब्सोल्युटली.
So it's so different. So for me, this relationship was important, and what I did was to meet him at his map of the world, was to not judge him, was to include his perspectives, which are very different, which gives me multi-dimensional, ideas about multiple things. But for that, why is it relevant to being a coach? Because you don't need to judge. You have to have multi-dimensional perspective to things. You should be able to include others. You should be able to listen to them. So life coaching is all about how well can you listen, how well can you ask the right questions, because the right questions give you the right answers. Life coaching is when people are stuck with certain things and they don't know what to do about it, and you are just that medium or helping them, being that catalyst to make that change for themselves, asking them the questions which can make them reflect, have a breakthrough for themselves, get them into an aha moment. So I feel anything including your imposter syndrome, that's just a thought you're giving yourself. That's a self-talk. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe I'm not enough. That's a self-talk that you're giving. But when you have a coach, he or she is going to ask you a couple of questions and which you feel, chuck it. I'm so good with what I do. I just need to share it with the world with the best confidence that I can have. And then you will see, fake it till you make it. So even though you don't have it, you keep doing it so many times that people are like, ah, you were so good with it. So it's like where your focus goes, that's where your energy flows, and that's where your results show. So you have to be very mindful where your focus is. That's what I would say about life coaching.
Wow, yeah. This is exactly, what we both come from a space as maybe as particular to agile coaching, and this is exactly what you mentioned. I just was reflecting to is meet the people or meet your team to the place where they belong to, instead of expecting them to to come to the place that you are maybe bowing in a certain way have put yourself. Instead of doing that, reach to the place where they belong to, and that is what exactly the example that you gave about your son. Maybe that opened up the space, opened up the maybe the it's whether it's the right word or not, maybe a virtual wall that was created, breaking that and getting into that, giving that access. That was that one conversation might have made it easier for you to get access. And that's so wonderful when we say that we are coach, maybe with whatever dimensions or whatever part of the individual's career that we are trying to make an impact to, making them comfortable, making them feel they belong to. And as you mentioned, maybe with my own example, maybe imposter syndrome, I don't think so. Maybe if someone would have asked me this question a year back or maybe 2 years back, I would have said, yes, boss, I'm part of that. I go through it. But maybe as you said, right, maybe try till keep trying. Maybe someday it will work out for you. And that is what exactly I am at least trying to do. Maybe I'm just going out, trying to look out for any opportunities which gives me, even a second or a minute opportunity to talk out. I'm just doing myself. Maybe I succeed or whether I make it sense or whether I fail, it makes no sense to me because I'm not looking at the outcome of that particular conversation. What I'm looking out from an outcome point of view, whether can I succeed, moving out of this zone. I don't want to be into this zone. I don't want to call myself into a self, someone, going through that self-imposter syndrome. So thank you, CG, for sharing that. Such a wonderful experience.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe what now I want to ask you about is your TEDx speaking or maybe keynote speaking. Honestly, I mean, I'll just put this out, is that this is my dream that I want to do a TEDx talk once in my lifetime. This is what I'm striving for, you know what, at least once. And the same thing that you said, right? I love talking. Second thing is that I feel that if I share my journey, my story, people will listen to it, and even one single person get inspired with whatever I share through my journey, my life would be fulfilled, right? So that is the reason why I want to do a TEDx talk. So, I mean, this is not just for youngsters. This is for me. I'm asking that how did you land up to become a keynote speaker? And you have been a TEDx speaker thrice, not once, not twice, but thrice. So please share about that.
Thank you. I mean, that's a very sweet thing to answer to because it holds a very special place. So the very first TED talk that happened, it was in LNCT Bhopal, LNCT College in Bhopal. And some lovely moments from there. One, I had just launched Leaders in Lipstick. So Leaders in Lipstick is a boutique program that I used to do it for women managers at the mid level, helping them transition to the senior levels. So the statistics said that there are 25% in the mid managerial level, and there are just 4% in the senior management level, which means there's a dip of 21%. So what we were trying to do is to address the gap of 21% so that we can have more role models who can aspire and inspire other women to reach to that level. So we know the statistics looks very grim across the globe when it comes to women, and that's why you have reservations for directors, board of directors as women, which is very sad because there are no enough representations there. So in that endeavor, Leaders in Lipstick happened, and TED LNCT was having a program in the month of November for how visible are you for women. So they landed up onto me. It was actually through my husband. My husband was into the campus recruitment space of Larsen and Toubro Infotech LTI, and it so happened in one of the colleges. He happened to say my wife is a speaker and she's does training programs, and they got excited and they said we are doing the very first ever women TED Talk in Bhopal, and we would want to invite her. So the first one happened thanks to my husband because he kind of showed them like she exists, and they kind of looked into my profile and they felt that I fit into the bill, and that's how I got invited. And the experience is very wow because it was pre-COVID, and excellent VVIP treatment. You met with the ministers, you met with some real classy people. They had these huge life-sized photographs of mine and all other speakers. They had
Wow.
these huge stuff which where you had to autograph there. The kids after the session, after the TED talk, they were showing me their autograph books and they took my signatures. I was like feeling like a celebrity,
Wow.
don't you? Everybody wanted a selfie. It was like a red carpet treatment leading you to the red dot. It was a nerve-wracking space for me because it was my first time and I gave the TED more importance than what I am. Right? So I was like in like a shrinking inside with a lot of nervousness and fear. And plus you had to finish your talk in 18 minutes, which is like a difficult task for a talkative person like
Correct.
me. And I had to be focusing on when they would say, stop, stop, and I couldn't. So the moment the spotlights were on, I could see nobody in the crowd. I was like, where did everybody go off? Because the lights give you that kind of a feeler. And I wanted to see when is this guy coming in, showing me it's like a 15-minute and then it's an 18-minute. Net and net, I was the first speaker. I was so nervous inside, but my body language was so cool. People never even thought that I would be even an iota of nervousness. And I think for fake it till you make it, that applied so well because you had rehearsed so many times that you were shit scared inside, but not even a single soul comes to know you were so shit scared. And that experience was so beautiful. It took me some time to sink in the feeling that I'm a TED speaker. And plus the next very month my husband travels to Bhopal. Outside the airport there was this huge hoarding saying first ever women TED talk, and it had my picture there. And
I was
shares
about
the
to ask about that.
he shares that picture to me. Proud of you, wifey. And to hear that from him after a long time, I was really feeling wow. And yeah, so that was my very first. The second one happened during my COVID times, and it was during that Mahakumbh Mela's time. It was in Mathura. And I and my husband, we both were to go in Mathura and then visit Agra. We had never seen the Taj Mahal. We thought this is the right time for us to, see the Taj Mahal, have a symbol of our relationship in front of the Taj Mahal. All those things we visualized just a day before. It comes that in Mahakumbh Mela, 3,000 people were infected with the COVID. This was in the year 2022. And so we go shut for some time. And that Mathura happened to be a virtual. It was a offline, but it happened to be a virtual. And it came to me through LinkedIn. They invited me over through LinkedIn. I've got 6 different TED Talks invites because of the way I network and I kind of post on LinkedIn. LinkedIn has given me the access to people reaching me out for my TED Talks. So today I can say 37,000 followers. Just 3 days back, I got from Delhi, one of the colleges in Delhi, for another TED Talk in April. So I find LinkedIn is one way, the professional space where you give your content and people recognize you and they give you the want. Okay, so that was my second one. And my third one, I was nominated by my son. So he was in Xavier's Institute of Engineering and Technology in Mumbai, and they were having their TED Talks. So he said, my mama is a speaker. Can I nominate her? So you nominate everybody, right? But you get selected or not, it's a different story. So somewhere they just felt that this is the first time there is one student in the college whose mother is there, and this would be first time in the college to have a mother of the student coming on the TED platform. And I don't know, for whatever reason, they nominated me. And again, it was on women centric space. So I fit the bill very well. And that was like a real great space too. So one, my husband. Third, my first son. So, I should save my stars. And plus, now I've been getting a lot through LinkedIn. The second one was also through LinkedIn.
I literally got goosebumps when you said that. Literally, quite literally, I got goosebumps when you said that. Amazing journey. And yes, I agree on LinkedIn part. That's where our engagement or maybe majority of our audiences for our other podcasts come from. And yes, over to you, Vivek.
Thank you.
Yeah. So while doing all these things, different things that you have, maybe I would say, experienced or tried out throughout your career, one of the basic thing that I always wonder or always try to check with others is how do you keep yourself motivated or engaged to ensure that you continue doing what you are doing? What is that driving force, or what is that, every morning that you get up and you have that energy or you have that zeal to, yes, I want to get this thing done. What is that keeps you motivated?
Thank you for asking me that. So I feel one thing that works in my favor is that inherently I was born as a child who's a little happy child. So you can keep me suppressed for like good 2 days, but third day I spring back. So I have that. It's an innate inborn quality which I was born like that. Carefree, little care no bother, mast rehne ka, man chali types. I am like that. That's my basic nature. So there's nothing that can keep me down for a long time. So even if I'm depressed, suppressed, or not feeling appropriate or right because of certain things that could have happened in your space, it's like I may get fret over it for 2 days. Third day, I'm back to what I am. Like, this is Siji. So this Siji she can't stop smiling. I mean, it just happens. It's like, so one, I think it's my inherent. It's nothing that I have to do too much of effort because it comes to me effortlessly. Right? So, second, I think motivation to everybody needs. I am somebody who will always reach out for help. So, like today, if I'm feeling not so good about something, is the way somebody just did not respond to me well, the first thing I would go and pick up the call and call one of my friends whom I feel has gone through a similar experience. How did you deal with it? I just ask that. And they come with such responses, and I'm like, wow, this is simple. I can do it also. So I always reach out for help because I won't fret inside. I need to vent it out. I need to express it. I need to talk about it. And the moment I talk about it, I'm like, ठीक है, everybody has their हर कुत्ते का दिन आता है, तो मेरा भी दिन आ जाएगा. So
Correct.
it's like I kind of I like how long can you be there? Because if you stay there, you're not going anywhere. So you need to pick yourself up and do that for yourself because every day you can't have somebody coming and telling me, come on, Saji, let me lift you up. Yeah, I have to do that for myself. Come what? There have been really lows in my life for various reasons, but it's like 3 days, and I'm like, chuck it, yeah. That was a part of my journey. I needed to become more stronger and resilient. My adversity quotient is so high now. Thanks to that, what happened? Thanks to the person who told something nasty. Thanks to the event that happened to me. And I say, and I just move on. So I basically feel one, I reach out. Two, I motivate myself because I know if I don't do it for myself, no one else does. And three, I think somewhere my inherent quality just helps.
Wow, amazing. And that's the thing we I wanted to hear today. And yes, it's like I am also the kind of a person who wants to like vent out, talk it out, clear it out, and not just pile up inside you. Otherwise, one day when it comes out, it is going to blast like anything, right? So even I share the same feeling over there. And you said that you find motivation because आप अंदर से ही खुश मिजाज के women हो या लड़की हो, right? But then leaders are not born, right? When it comes to leadership, right? So to become a great leader, you have to hone that skill or build that skill, right? So, what are the key qualities you have developed to become an effective leader and life coach? I'm asking this because बहुत सारे youngsters को ये सवाल रहेगा कि हमारे में क्या क्वालिटीज होनी चाहिए ताकि हम लोग भी आगे लाइफ कोच बने या लीडर बने या स्पीकर बने.
Nice. Thank you for that question. So I feel one thing, we all have something which is called as the X factor. So आपका X factor कुछ हो सकता है, मेरा X factor कुछ हो सकता है. So one of my X factors is that I have a energy vibe which makes me connect with others very easily, or people find me very approachable and accessible. Uh, Maybe it's because of my smile that people feel that they don't feel intimidated in my presence. In fact, they feel connected, and there's a rapport which is quick. Uh, so that works for me big time. So as a leader, if you're not approachable and accessible, people, if they're intimidated by your presence, they don't get inspired or they don't aspire either to become like you. So I feel one is your vibe. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So having a vibe about you, which is like a wow, wow, like you create that with the pleasant disposition. I think that's never going to be a failure. That's never. It's a no-brainer. It's going to work success for you anytime. Yeah. The second thing as a leader, I feel if you good with the way you have an effective communication, that's meeting people at their maps of the world, listening to them genuinely, being interested in them genuinely. These are some things because you being talkative, you tend not to listen to others as much, right? So this comes to me with a lot of effort. I have to tell myself, Siji, just shut up and listen. So this is something I keep working on myself every single day because I'm so eager to talk that I have to really put an effort to zip it up here and here both so that I can listen to the person, give my heart to the person, be empathetic to the person, and the person feels valued, the person feels connected. So that's the second thing. That's effort for me. For someone, it may come very effortlessly. For everybody, something is effort and something is effortless. So as I said, my vibe was very effortless and my listening was with a lot of effort. Okay. Third thing I would say is have something which you're passionate about, and be passionate about the space that you own because that's going to rub on people. If you are somebody with low energy, you can't have a team of high energy. So if you want somebody who's of a performing team or high energy, you need to have that in yourself. Do whatever it takes for you to be in that zone. Replenish yourself, reset yourself, take a break, relax, do things that you love to do, and get in that zone where you are like they're blooming and beaming with a lot of energy. I think the rest of the skills, it comes on the job, dealing with people. In leadership, it's all about people. People skills, getting things done from others, making that impact and influence of getting things done from everyone. So, how do you empower them and give them the power to do things at the same time you are in charge and in control of the entire space? Because you know your desired objective and you should know how to navigate that, right? So navigation is the key. Never manipulate people, but navigate people. Manipulation is always with a wrong intention, and navigation is always with a positive intention. So if your intentions are right, everything around you just blooms up. If your intentions are wrong, it will eventually wither and dry off. So keep nurturing and nourishing. As they rightly say, the grass is green on the side where you water it the most.
Oh, wow. The last line, manipulation and navigation, is so it brings the crux of the entire podcast, If it makes or it gives you a different direction, or it gives you a different perspective of what how one should be, one gets into a leadership. I won't even say leadership, one how one needs to conduct themselves, where irrespective of whatever relations or irrespective of whatever communications they are doing with the set of people or individuals, what should be the approach? It should not be, something that we are trying to manipulate, right? It should be the other way. And you summarize it so well, CG. And while I was just based on your career path or what different directions or different things that you have done throughout your career growth, uh, obviously in each of the aspect that you have ventured into or have aspired to or you have taken up to, you in certain way your education has definitely has been maybe a catalyst or maybe something has supported you. So how do you think what is most important when we see that we want to get into a leadership role or when we want to get into something as into a public space? do you recommend, or do you think that there is certain things that one needs to, pick up through his education, or whatever that individual is doing through? And would you like to, talk about that as well?
As a very relevant one, which I missed out, saying that I'm a sucker for learning. Okay. And I call myself a student for life. I am 50 years and I still learn every single day. And I make it a practice to at least have a new certification once every 2 months. So have at least 6 new certifications every year. Massively important. I have 18 international certifications, including NLP, Master Practitioner NLP, Gestalt, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy, Emotional Intelligence. Name it, I'm there. I have done outbound, games bond training. I have learned facilitation. Um, I have also gone ahead and spent 3 months with Dr. Jack Phillips in Alabama, US, to learn ROI in learning and development space. Spent a fortune learning all of that. What was the ROI of it? I traveled across a lot of countries purely because of ROI. So I think every single time, even in public speaking, the first thing I did when I got into the training space was to go ahead and, there was this sir, Pramod Palekar sir, who was running a 4 week public speaking class. I went there, and it was a good validation for me because I stood first in almost all parameters. It just gave me a validation that you can do it. It was a course. Then I keep getting doing that, and I sometimes I feel bored if I don't learn something new. So for me to learn something new, keep up to date about the new technologies, I use a lot of AI. I use a lot of stuff in my space. I am quite technologically savvy. I use a lot of technology to build up many things. So I guess all of these, the continuous churning of yourself to upgrade, upscale, update, it's very important because being in a training space, if you have 8 hours of talking with senior leaders, if you don't have good content, they're going to just show me the door, never come back again because we can't connect you for these 8 hours. So, for 8 hours of good content that needs to be delivered, I need to have at least 40 to 50 hours of good preparation, good practice, right? And that comes with only if I'm continuously learning and upgrading. You can't be saying the same thing again and again, again and again, again and again, because it's going to be boring, right? People have heard it multiple times, and today there's information overkill. People knows every story. Now you have to come up with something different, and you can do that different only if you're a sucker for learning. You need to keep that continuous learning. So I'm going to urge every kid is that never stop your learning curve. Learn from experiences, keep mentors, have mentors, be a good mentee. You become a mentor yourself because you learn a lot from mentees too. Give back to the society, learn from anybody and everybody. Both my boys teach me a lot of things new. I never knew there was something called as benching. I never knew there was something called as texting. All these are taught to be my by my sons, and am I open to it? I say yes, but when I look at my husband, he's like, rubbish is all this, he will keep that and say he will never learn those words. So I feel I'm so much open to learning all that, grasping that, absorbing that, being connected to the current generation. So that's what is my upper edge, like, continuous learning. And I would say go ahead, never stop doing that. So, like,
Wow.
also, I am learning the saxophone now because I want to be known as the lady, the first lady who starts a keynote by playing a note on the saxophone. So, I want to start
Wow.
my keynote speaking with a 4 minute, 5 minute nice rendition on the saxophone. And very few women do that. And if I'm doing a saxophone with a sari on it, I'm just visualizing myself as being there, somebody who does that, and getting the people into the mood and the groove of listening to me after a 5 minute rendition, and then closing it on a higher note. So these are some of the things I keep coming out with, all the time. What new, what different, and what more should I learn, even if I'm 50?
Wow. I mean, the point that you talked about opening your keynote with a saxophone. So maybe you just, right? You just put it out in the universe and you manifest it, and that will definitely going to happen. So maybe the last question for today's conversation. And this question, though you have covered pretty much about it in the previous one, but then I would want to specifically or categorically ask you, and this question is for those people who feel that, I mean, people who are not like a happy child from inside, like you, they say that, you know what, मेरे घर के conditions ऐसे नहीं थे कि मैं ये पढ़ पाया या पढ़ पाई, या मेरे पेरेंट्स ने मेरे को फोर्स किया तो I got into this profession, but I don't know whether I can pursue something else. So there is lot of kind of hesitation to get out of that comfort zone, right? So for all such people, your entire journey itself is a lesson in itself. But then if you want to just explicitly put out that, what advice would you give to such people who wants to maybe make a switch over from, say, from any other profession to becoming or to come into this profession, be it keynote speaker, be it life coach, be it leader, be it facilitator, or be it entrepreneur like you, right? So, what advice would you like to give, and what is the starting point for them?
Nice. So everyone has choices. Either you become a victim or you become a victor. You can choose. I can be a victim of the circumstances, or I could make victory out of my circumstances. Have things been easy for me and laid on the platter? The answer is no. I'm a biotech student with an MBA in finance. What am I doing here? I sometimes ask myself. This is a huge different zone from where I am learned. I have been conditioned to believe culturally and a multiple lot of things. So if I feel if I can do, anyone can do. So it's basically you want to be a victim or a victor is your choice. And that's why I always live by one thing: aspire to inspire before you expire. So
Wow.
if you are somebody who believes that circumstances have been not fair with you, many of us have not had fair in some or the other way. But I always believe every pain in your life launches you for greatness. Because without pain, I don't know any single person who has not had pain and who has become great. The more the level of pain, the more you get better. But the choice is yours to if you want to brood and sit over it for the rest of your life, or you want to make meaning out of it and have the pain channelized into something more constructive and beautiful for yourself. That's purely your choice. So I feel it's a choice. Successful people always have results, unsuccessful people always have reasons. So
Excuse.
you can decide reasons or results, again your choice. If you want to tell your story when you grow older, then choose your results, not your reasons.
Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing. And thank you so much, CG, for coming over, doing this podcast with us. I'm definitely sure that people, youngsters, Gen Z, or people from at any level in their career would get inspired and motivated by your journey, by your achievements, accolades. And we are definitely inspired and motivated, and we are all pumped up, definitely. So thank you so much for coming over and doing this podcast with us. It was great talking to you.
And thank you so much for having me here. I, as much as I had fun, and let me tell you, this is another source of my motivation. Whenever I do a podcast or a speech or a panel discussion, every time you revisit what you have been through and come to, it also helps you to understand there is so much more that you can do. So I think this was motivating. I really enjoyed this space. It was like reliving a lot of my moments from the past. Thank you for asking me all those beautiful questions. Really matters. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching the episode patiently till the end. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll meet you again in the next episode. Till then, if you like our podcast show, then please do like, share, subscribe, and let us know your feedback in the comment section.